Shinobi, open your eyes. For the sake of your master.
Hey everyone, it's BlueLizardJello, and welcome to Everything Possible in Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. I am extremely excited to finally be kicking this series off. Now, if you are new to my Everything Possible series, or if you're someone who have watched my Everything Possible in the Soul series before, you may want to check out the description as well as the pinned comment on this video to learn a little bit more about what to expect from this series in particular. But I don't want to waste too much time in this introduction, so let's jump right in to Sekiro.
In the closing years of the Sengoku era, Japan was consumed by perpetual conflict. The fires of war raged on, spreading deep into the mountains, to the land of Ashina.
Is the war finally over? General Tamura is no more!
Master swordsman Ashina staged a bloody coup and wrested control of the land.
What's the matter, Stray? Nothing left to lose? Well, would you look at that? Fascinating. Will you join me, starving wolf?
On that day, a young cub was taken from the battlefield. He trained relentlessly, and indeed, went on to become a master shinobi.
Listen, wolf. You must never forget the Shinobi Code. As your father, my word is absolute. Your master's is a close second. As of today, he is your master. Defend him with your life. If he is taken, bring him back at any cost. You understand me, don't you, wolf?
Some 20 years after Ishin's coup, the Ashina clan was on the brink of collapse. And the shinobi, known as Wolf, had lost everything. Both the man who took him in and the boy he had sworn to protect.
Shinobi, open your eyes. For the sake of your master.
we find ourselves at the bottom of a dark, damp well. Opening just above where the item was just dropped down from, we have a waterway directly behind us. But let's take a look at this item and then we'll explore our surroundings as well as talk about that introductory cinematic, which sets the stage for the entire game. We get an ornamental letter. A letter thrown into a well. Kuro's wolf. Your destiny awaits you at the Moonview Tower. Escape from the well and find the tower bathed in moonlight. Even without a blade, you can reach it. Stay silent. Stay vigilant. And here it immediately starts to set the stage for the type of hunter that we will be. The Shinobi type. This stealthy, silent assassin. That is the goal of this game, and largely I am going to be playing in that way. Now, there will be times where direct combat is the name of the game, but by and large, if at all possible, I'll be trying to sneak my way around to become a true shinobi. So let's go ahead and head into the water, because we can swim. Now, as of right now, we can only swim on the surface of the water. We don't have any ability to dive down, but that is something that will come later. And this item up ahead, there's no way to get it just now. We will be back in this area, and that item is nothing too important, but it's just an item placed there so that the player remembers, hopefully, to come back here when at all possible to see what might be just above that wall. So here we have a tutorial talking about jumping and of course even wall jumps. So let's escape the well now. Here we are in Ashina Reservoir. We know a little bit about the Ashina clan from that introductory cinematic. We know that we are in the Sengoku period towards the tail end, and we know that the Ashina clan, ever since Ishin Ashina has taken out General Tamura, but the clan is not doing so well. They are somewhat fading and waning. Now, the woman that came and dropped the ornamental letter to us, I don't want to say who it is just yet. We're going to see her again very shortly, but just remember the dress that she was wearing, because we'll see that when we run into her again. You can already get a really good vista of some of the key points that we'll be exploring, including Ashina Castle, the bridge that's leading over to the gate, and the reservoir right down below it. But here we have the prompt that we can hug the wall. Really good for crossing these very narrow gaps. And it does say that we can even peek around. This is going to be vital if we want to be as sneaky as possible. Really good vantage point. We can see a couple of individuals here, another one over there, and there's going to be a couple more yet in the building. But right now, what we want to do is stealth, just like that tutorial said, right into here.
At the bottom of the well. We didn't shackle him, restrain him, nothing. That doesn't worry anybody?
Not at all. Not only is he unarmed, he has completely lost his will to live. Nothing but a coward. Unworthy of our concern.
So we just heard leader Shigenori Yamauchi talking to one of his subordinates, and notice the vignette around the screen. You can see how the corners are slightly darkened. As I step out of stealth, which I don't want to do for too long, you can actually see that the vignette goes away. That's how you know you are either in stealth or out of stealth. But right now we don't want to be out of stealth. They will see us very quickly, and the leader Shigenori will hunt us down. Now, another mechanic right here. Anytime you see that symbol, that ear symbol, that means that there's a conversation we can listen to if we just get close enough and eavesdrop.
The moonlight shines strongly on the Moonview Tower tonight. The divine heir is probably using the light for his reading again.
Probably, but imprisoning a mere child. I feel sorry for the boy.
Agreed. But I'm sure Lord Genichiro has his reasons.
So we know that Lord Genichiro has imprisoned someone by the name of the Divine Heir, a child that is in the Moonview Tower. Well, there's the moon, and there's a tower. Surrounded by guard yet, so we want to make sure we're still in stealth. Right up here, we're going to get that ear symbol again.
The Moonview Tower door. You checked that it's locked, right?
It's certainly locked, but nobody fixed that hole in the wall.
That? Don't worry about it. The hole faces the edge of a cliff. No one could pass through it.
Throughout the game, we're going to get these little messages talking about different hints and strategies that we can employ. In fact, there are some tips and tricks as to how to take out certain bosses that we'll be using as we proceed. Now, this time, we are not going to sneak along the wall. We're actually going to dangle from it. just be careful as you're shimmying across, because if you hit the B button, which you can see on my screen right now, we will drop down. Now, drops in Sekiro don't necessarily mean death. Typically, it just means a percentage of your health will be lost, as opposed to an immediate death. Getting another really, really nice look. Absolutely gorgeous moon. Right here, a little bit of a gap. Even if you fall down there, no big deal. You will survive, but we can jump up here. Now, a little tip. This is teaching us right now that we want to jump and hit X in air in order to grab. But instead of hitting X right at the end, you can just hit it at any point and hold it, and you will grab as soon as you're able to. That's going to be key for some of the longer jumps that we have to make later on. Now, one thing that I noticed the last time I was going through this area, there's the hole in the wall that the guards were just telling us about. But notice that there is a candle placed right at the opening. Was the divine heir waiting for us to come through that hole, or was maybe that just the guard's way of marking it so they let the heir know, hey, if you get too close, that's quite the fall. But let's jump up, let's make our way into the hole, and let's meet this divine heir.
You did well to come here. It's been too long, Wolf.
I've come to free you, my lord.
Well then. Raise your head. Kusabimaru, your sword. My Shinobi. In accordance with the bond of Lord and Retainer, you will pledge your life in my service.
As you command.
We now know that the divine heir is Kuro, and Kusabimaru is our katana. So it's a katana given by Kuro, the divine heir, an heirloom of the Hirata family, a cadet branch descended from Ashina. Once thought lost, it has found its way back into the hands of the wolf. The name Kusabimaru beseeches. A shinobi's role is to kill, but even a shinobi must not forget mercy. A mantra the blade itself may manifest. We now have a weapon with which we can defend ourselves and take out aggressors if need be. So we're here in the Moonview Tower. We have these awesome little moths guiding themselves by the moonlight. Here's the hole that we just came through. Now we will talk to Kuro yet again, but we don't want to forget that up here in this other room we get a pellet. Medicinal pellets that slowly restore vitality. A secret treatment passed down for generations in these lands. Records say it has been used in battle since times long gone and lent to the famed resilience of Ashina warriors. A pill case full of these pellets would also serve as a battle charm. So this not only tells us that there is a vitality system in play here, vitality being our health, but there's another system even more important that we'll see here soon, but also this is something that will heal us over time. Pellets will restore vitality over the course of 15 seconds. The really nice attribute of pellets is that they will continue healing beyond your max vitality. And what I mean by that is, if the effects of the pellet are still going on, even though you're at full health, if you take damage in that time, you will continue to receive the restoration. It doesn't just simply stop once you reach your max vitality, which I find to be very useful. Now let's talk to Kuro one more time to get yet another healing item, and then we can start to actually head out into the world.
Loyal Wolf, I see you are wounded. I have something that may help. It is a special gourd of medicinal waters. Use it to heal your wounds.
This gourd has a lot of information about some key characters that we'll learn more about as we continue to collect different items and talk to different NPCs. A gourd filled with vitality restoring medicine resting refills the gourd, made by an apprentice of the extraordinary Dr. Dogen. Though it is strange that the gourd's medicinal waters refill automatically, the seeds within may hold the secret to how it works.
My lord.
Now then, were you gravely injured? Afterward?
After what?
Do you not remember that night?
I do not.
No. We'll talk about it later. Right now, we must escape Ashina Castle.
As you say.
There's a secret passage beneath the moat bridge that will take us out of the castle. Lord Ishin told me about it once. I ask you to find that secret passage. Once you find it, signal me with a reed whistle. You know, like you used to long ago. I will join you as soon as I hear it.
So a bit of story starting to take place here. We know that we were gravely injured during some either battle or event that we have no recollection of. In fact, if we look at our health in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see it is very low. While we're in this menu, let's take a look at the quick items. Now, over here we have several locked slots. Those will be opened up as we continue to play, but we're going to put on the healing gourd, the pellet, and the homeward idol. This is an item that we start with. It's a small palm-sized wooden Buddha, can be used repeatedly, held by the wolf ever since he was saved by his father. We saw that in the opening cinematic. Its corners are rounded with use. This Buddha is used to return home. It will return the user to the last visited sculptor's idol or the dilapidated temple, neither of which we have seen just yet. But a nice little trick, instead of using the healing gourd or the pellet before we open that door, if we simply use the homeward idol now, we respawn in the Moonview Tower, and our health is now completely full. Not that it's a huge save, but it's a save nonetheless. Now the game is going to start getting very tutorial heavy. You can see here talking about posture and death blows. Here's a good opportunity to talk about posture. There is a separate gauge from the enemy's health. In fact, health takes a side view over to the left, whereas posture is right at top center. Once you break an enemy's posture, it allows you to perform a death blow, which is how you need to kill many of the game's tougher enemies, although taking down the vitality of the lesser enemies, that would work as well. But my goal here is I'm going to get into crouching, which I did by using the left analog stick, clicking it in. Once I see that symbol, then I have a death blow. Now at this point, I've just done a backstab, but you can see here, with some of these weaker enemies, simply attacking them, even if they're guarding, will knock down their posture to the point where you can get a death blow. If they're not too keen to block, it's not very difficult to knock that down. Now we're talking about deflection. Think of this like a parry system. As the enemy is attacking us, if we block at the right time, we'll get a deflection, which greatly increases the posture damage. Once the posture meter builds up completely, then again we can get that death blow. And we're going to practice on this enemy. And there we go. The biggest trick that I can offer is to look at the enemy's hand. As soon as the enemy's hand offers any sort of forward momentum, that's when you want to deflect. We can lock on. We can switch in between targets. Right now with my controller scheme, I am using the default, so simply by clicking in the right analog stick and moving it back and forth is how I switch. Notice as I approach, there's a little triangle above the left enemy's head. That is his detection meter. Once that gets up and turns yellow, he's suspicious and will start to look. Once it turns red, he has seen us and he will come after us. Right up ahead, that is where we did sneak through the bushes to get to the Moonview Tower. We saw Leader Shigenori up there. We're going to run into him again just at the top of the stairs above my head. Now right here we have these two basic enemies, and then behind the gate we have two more. So in true Shinobi style, what we can do, simply sneak to the side. We'll jump and grab onto this ledge. We can avoid them for now because these enemies are extremely simple. We've already seen how we can just take them out. Whereas this one with the hat is a little bit more dangerous. Before this other one sees us, I'm going to target him and we're going to do a jump death blow. I'm going to jump, and then as soon as I see the death blow marker, then I'll attack. Oh, unfortunately that didn't work. My timing was just a little bit off, but we were still able to get the backstab. So let's take care of them. Another move, we can do a charge attack, like so. That is done simply by using the R1 button and holding it in. Now with those enemies dead, here is Leader Shigenori. We're going to work on using deflections and counter slash. That is an attack immediately following a deflection. A little bit of a hit there. And if he's insisting on guarding, we can certainly go on the offensive. Now there's one death blow. But as you can see here, strong enemies will often have more than one. You can see in the top left-hand corner, the number of death blows are represented by those dots. We've already taken out one, but we need another one in order to take out Leader Shigenori. There we go. So there's the second death blow. Leader Shigenori is dead. We get another pellet for our troubles. And of course, in typical FromSoft fashion, we get, it does not open from this side door. Now, one thing to note about the combat, and I did just demonstrate it a little bit, you want to be aggressive as much as you can, but I like to say that you need to be defensively aggressive or aggressively defensive, depending on your take. You want to lead the attack as much as possible, but once you see that the enemy has deflected you based on the bright sparks, then get ready to deflect very quickly, or be ready to respond in kind, because sometimes they'll come at you with an attack that is better jumped over or sidestepped, but we'll see that as we come across other enemies. Here is an extremely useful item. Fistful of Ash. Ash gripped into a hardened clump. Throw it at an enemy to temporarily distract them. In Ashina, the snow falls thick and thus the hearth runs thick with ash. We get a couple of those. This is an item that when used will throw it, literal fistful of ash, or pocket sand as the community likes to call it, into the eyes of the enemy, and it will distract them for quite a while, allowing you to get several free hits. This does work on just about every boss. Over here we have a couple of ways of getting across. We have this tree, we can jump to that ledge, or we can simply walk around here and then hug the wall. Right around the corner we can see a glowing item there. We see some sort of strange creature directly above me. But as we get closer to the bridge, jump off this wall and grab, you can see that ear symbol appear, and here was another eavesdrop.
You know that secret passage at the bottom of the moat, under the bridge? We just got orders to guard it.
Security's getting tight. War will be upon us very soon.
These guards are already letting us know that they are aware of the secret passage. They have been told to guard it because war is coming. Not necessarily us rescuing Kuro, but perhaps there's other enemies on the way. Now with this enemy coming up, we're going to learn more about them quite a bit later. We can attack him head on, or if we really want to practice our Shinobi skills, simply hang on to the ledge, traverse across. Once we can see the death blow, we can just take him right off of the ledge. Again, we're going to learn a lot more about those enemies as the episodes unfold. There is quite a bit of lore associated with them. They're pretty interesting characters, but it's going to be a little bit. There's another pellet. Now right here, this is where we're going to signal Lord Kuro to join us with our reed whistle. Here is a sculptor's idol, but it is not active, so we can't rest at it yet. But you hear that little creaking sound? That's because you can see him over there in the distance. This is a gecko. We're going to see these throughout the game. The only reason I jumped down is to show you this. With certain small creatures, including these geckos, you can get a jumping death blow at any time, even if they are aware of you. So let's actually get this one's attention. You can see he is already well aware of us, but if I just jump, we can get that death blow. And here's another one. There's no reason to come down here and kill them at this time. We're not getting any items. We're not getting any experience whatsoever. There's the body of our friend that we just assassinated. And what we want to do is just jump up here. And we don't have to go all the way back up to the bridge. Instead, well, not here, excuse me. We do have to go up one more layer. Double jump. And then we can just hug this wall. So really, if you didn't want to go up and eavesdrop on those guards or kill that one enemy and get the pallet, if you so choose, you can just take this alternate route. Sekiro is full of ways of getting around. There's not just one set path typically, so feel free to explore around. But, all those enemies taken care of, let's go ahead and summon Lord Kuro.
Wolf, you found it. Now let us leave this place.
Yes, my lord.
To think that this is the only way, to run from the fated bloodline, is the only answer.
Not a lot of information there, except for the fact that we know that Kuro is running from the fated bloodline. There will be a lot of discussion on that.
Where shall we go once we're away from the castle? I suppose the first thing we should do is cross the Ashina border. Or perhaps we should hide somewhere. What do you think?
Whatever you desire.
Whatever I desire? That's the wolf I know.
My lord.
Oh, nothing. I was just reminiscing. Onward then.
Our character is extremely loyal to Lord Kuro. And remember that, because there will be time where we have to make a decision, and that decision will greatly impact our character's fate and the game itself. This is one of the game's truly most beautiful scenes. This entire field of lush vegetation with the moon looking over it and someone waiting ominously in the distance. Before I go too far, because it will trigger the cinematic, this is going to be a boss fight. And in this boss fight, it is expected that we, the player character, will lose. In fact, even if we win, we still lose in a sense. If you want to try and beat Lord Genichiro, which is who this is, I'm going to offer you some tips and tricks, but don't feel bad if you don't get it. It took me many practice attempts in order to get this down. And keep in mind that even if you win, you will still have the exact same experience as everyone else, barring a slightly different cutscene at the end of the fight.
The divine heir. Last we stood together was your uncle's funeral.
Lord Genichiro. Thank you.
Leave this to me.
So the noble Shinobi stands in our way.
It is best to rush in as quickly as you can and start attacking Genichiro. When he does that jump attack, just move to the side, and then if you see the kanji symbol, usually that means there's going to be a thrust that you should either sidestep or use the dash button using B or circle to get out of the way at the last second. The goal here is to continue attacking until he deflects and then do the next action according to what action he takes. When he does the flurry, it is okay to mash the deflection button because that will deflect most, if not all, of his attacks. If you see the kanji symbol when he is winding his sword backwards, that means that he's going to do a sweep attack and you want to jump over it and do another jump at the top of the jump so you jump and land on his head. You can see just how quick it can be to get him down in the first phase, and the second phase is very similar, but this time he is more likely to use his bow. Especially at the end of these flurry attacks. Get ready to deflect that arrow. The key here again is to just be very aggressive with Genichiro. And even when you're coming down from jumping on his head, it's okay to spam 2 or 3 attacks to get his vitality down even further. There's the arrow. There's the jump. Watch for the slash. That is another one that you can't jump over. And there is the second death blow.
A shinobi'd know the difference between honor and victory. The divine heir is coming with me.
What is this?
So you're awake. Looks like death is not your fate, just yet.
The artificial arm of a shinobi passed down by the sculptor, a replica of a human arm fitted with a variety of mechanisms apparently designed with modification in mind. While it bears a number of cuts and is stained thick with blood and oil, it has been impeccably maintained. Just what is this shinobi prosthetic? Who is a sculptor? And where are we? Whether you win or lose at fighting Lord Genichiro, your arm is severed and you wake up here in what can only be described as a dilapidated temple. But we will have to discuss that next time. If you learned something, please leave me a comment below and let me know what you learned. And if I missed something or if there's more to discuss about anything we've seen so far, please leave me that comment below as well so we can all keep learning. But I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.